It was a grey morning. The air hung heavy with anticipation as people filed into the courtroom, their murmurs filling the room like static. The courtroom was just like any other. Polished wooden benches, a gavel resting silently on the judge's desk. But what happened that day was anything but ordinary. In the defendant's seat sat a man, weathered but dignified, wearing the kind of look you'd expect from someone who had spent 4 long years waiting for justice. His name was Marcus Carter, a 39-year-old father, husband, and pillar of his community before his life was torn apart. 4 years ago, Marcus had been wrongly accused of a crime he didn't commit, a robbery gone wrong that ended in tragedy. A case of mistaken identity, they said. He had always maintained his innocence, but the system had failed him, sending him to prison while his family fell apart outside. Now, sitting beside him was his wife, Jasmine. Tears brimmed in her eyes, threatening to spill over as they had countless times before. 4 years, 4 birthdays missed, 4 Christmas mornings where their daughter Ava had asked why her daddy wasn't coming home. Ava, she was 7 now, the little girl with the big brown eyes who had sat quietly in the back of the courtroom for days, watching, waiting. Today, though, something was different. Today, Ava was no longer content to sit quietly. As the judge, a stern but fair woman named Judge Elaine Monroe, prepared to move the hearing forward, Ava stood. Her small frame seemed to grow as she cleared her throat. The courtroom fell silent, and every eye turned to the child who had just done the unthinkable. "Your Honor," Ava began, her voice trembling but determined. "Can I say something?" The judge, caught off guard but intrigued, motioned for Ava to step forward. Her tiny shoes echoed against the cold, hard floor as she approached the bench. Jasmine tried to stop her, whispering for her to sit down, but Ava didn't listen. She was on a mission. Ava clutched her favorite stuffed bear tightly as she looked up at Judge Monroe. "My daddy didn't do it," she said, her voice breaking. "He's not a bad man. He's my hero." The room was so quiet you could hear a pin drop. The judge leaned forward, her expression softening. "Why do you say that, sweetheart?" she asked gently. Ava's little hands gripped the bear tighter. "Because my daddy tells me to always tell the truth, and he told me he didn't do it. I believe him. Don't you?" Marcus's eyes welled with tears as he watched his daughter stand up for him in a way no one else ever had. Jasmine's quiet sobs grew louder, and even the courtroom clerk dabbed at her eyes with a tissue. But Ava wasn't finished. "We don't have him at home anymore," she said, her voice quivering. "Mommy cries every night. I cry too. But Daddy always says to be strong. He says the truth always wins." She looked directly at the judge, her gaze unwavering. "Can you please help us? Please?"